What's going on, everyone? We are back. That is correct. We are back with another episode in the same week. Two episodes. We didn't plan for this to happen. We had a special guest yesterday. We had to switch up the time because we couldn't. The time zones are a little different, and because of it, how long the conversation went, we actually end up doing two episodes. So this is our normal episode. Yesterday was the special episode. That being said, we have a special guest on this episode as well. Before we do that, let me reintroduce us. I'm one of your hosts, Kenny, and with me is Tess.
Hello, everyone.
And with us today is Charles Singletary Jr. What's up, Charles?
Greetings, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I am. First of all, I'm super excited that you were, willing to come on the show. Being a smaller show, because I want to say we started in the midst of COVID last year, um,
Uh,
and we haven't gotten our, our fan legs, if you will, just yet. So having you and a couple of other special guests that we have had has been really dope. Because as when I was doing previous podcasts where it was like, a little bit bigger audience, it was much easier to get developers and interesting people to jump in. Um, but it has been a little bit tough
yeah,
with our current show, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're on YouTube and things of that nature. Not going to get into all that, but it's just to say that we appreciate you stopping by because I know you have a pretty busy schedule actually um, with doing
a little bit.
um, and actually, I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about that before we jump into our normal stuff, because I know that you went from, you know, I guess the game journalism side to the game PR side. Like, how did that even happen?
Well, it was kind of a rescue mission, honestly. um, I was doing I did game journalism for I want to say like five, no, longer than that, about 7 years, 7 or 8 years.
Word.
Um, a, a chunk of that was not getting paid, but
I feel you.
yeah, but I was with one of the publications that I was writing for free. They were paying for like to go to events and things like that, so that was valuable. Helping out with travel as much as they could.
That's what's up.
And that was the Koalition.com. So shout out to them, super dope people over
Oh,
Yes.
there.
nice.
But went from that to freelancing, which was its own version of the journalism nightmare,
Yep.
and then I got a couple staff positions, and the short version is I was in a really bad staff position with like
Mm.
uh, narcissistic management, gaslighting, really shitty people, like just really pure terrible human beings running the show.
Yep. Been
And
there.
yeah, and as I started to like identify that, I got to a point where I was just like, all right, well, it's harming my relationship, it's harming my health. I don't want to get out of this because I felt like it was one of the few shots I had to be like a part of the industry.
Mm.
And but it got so bad that I was like, all right, well, I'm good giving this up. I'm done with this. If I got to go back to work in retail, whatever, I just got to get out of here, take a step back to move forward, essentially. But a couple people reached out to me and kind of were a bridge doing some freelance. Like I took a significant pay cut, but it didn't feel that bad because it was just I was working with much better people for a short period.
Right.
But some of the relationships I had built, some of the people that were in PR started like talking to me about it and telling me more about it. And I didn't think I was qualified for it, but as I talked to them more about it, journalism is very similar to it. A lot of the things that I was already doing translated well to it, and so I started keeping an eye on PR jobs and like the deeper kind of philosophy in the shift was that I was tired of being a critic and
Okay.
and I think that's largely because of the places I landed in because I know that if I'd gone to the right place I wouldn't have felt that way, but the path that I took just kind of burned me out on reporting the news and critiquing things.
I feel you.
Mhm.
It was just really unhealthy spaces to be working in. And I was just like, if I'm gonna be in games, I feel like PR makes perfect sense for me because I get to promote things. I don't have to keep up with every single thing or feel like I need to keep up with every single new thing that gets released. Which that was a ridiculous revelation, but if I get a chance, I'll talk about that a little bit later. But
Word.
uh, yeah, so I kept an eye out for some PR gigs, and some people pointed me towards one, but it was only in Canada, and
Yes.
they kept running it, they kept running it, and I was like, I really wish they would open it up to remote, and then they did,
Nice.
and that's where I am now, Evolve PR. Funny story. This could be like a little bit of motivation to anybody listening. uh, I intended to withdraw my application
Oh.
and I forgot to do it. And it was just it was an imposter syndrome moment, essentially.
Mhm.
I applied, got through the first part, and I was like, I'm not ready to be here yet. I need to get some more experience. I need to just get a different job, maybe continue doing freelance with a few people. I was like, let me just pull out of this and then come back to it when I'm more serious. And I straight up forgot to pull the application and went about my little weekend and ended up getting into the final part of it on that Monday, I think. And
Nice.
then got the job. It was
Yeah, that
like
sounds great.
very glad that I forgot to withdraw that.
Well,
No joke.
man, Evolve is one of my favorite PR. Just work like on the journalism side, like working with them over the
Hmm.
years, uh, has been just great. Like they do things, and not to, shit on all my other PR people, but I'm just saying that I had such a good experience, and I have such a good experience with them that even when I kind of went all freelance because like I was writing for one particular my site essentially,
Yeah,
um, and when I went to switch over, they were still willing to like send me code and just work with me even though I didn't have a home per se, right?
right.
And but then even outside of that, just how honest and hardworking they are, um, which was a good mesh, like dealing with other people. Well, I don't have to go into that, but where it can be tricky with the people that you work with. And so when I found out that you started working with them, I was like, yes, like this is such a good, what I mean, like a good fit. Um, so yeah, I kind of wanted to, ask like how that went. I have seen a couple of other of our peers kind of make that transition as well in PR.
Mm.
Um, and I thought it was fascinating because it just kind of like with you thinking like you're not qualified. It's like, man, is that something that could even be like, how do you do that? How do you go back and forth? But apparently it's happening.
It's
Um,
definitely happening.
the
When
editor
I
in chief of Game Informer, or the
Yeah.
previous editor in chief, went over to EA. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Mhm.
ah, okay, I see what y'all doing.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it was a situation where I'm just not asking the question, so I'm not getting the answers, or people are keeping information close to the chest. But I learned as I transitioned, or even before, um, that it seems to be the path that a lot of people are taking. Like Sean,
Yeah,
shout out to him. He was also journalism switching to PR, and he was one of the people that kind of like drilled into me that you're totally capable of doing this job and like going for these roles, because he did the exact same thing. And it was so much stuff that he pointed out to me that just was like, well, shit, that's common sense, or it feels like common sense now that you say it like that.
right.
Um, just the job security, for one. Um, Journalism is very, very much a roller coaster ride in the experiences that I've had. Because no degree to speak of. I studied journalism at the University of Alabama for a year, but I dropped out from there,
Mhm.
and just continued just writing on my own, and then writing for other people's websites, and just going from free to paid, and pitching and stuff. Um, but it's it's chaotic and you never and I never knew where money would be coming from, basically.
Right.
Right.
Like there were very few moments where it felt really secure. And even when I got an actual role, I don't know. It might have just been me, just something in the back of my head. I always felt like the rug was going to get pulled out from under me at any time, right?
Right.
And but Sean was breaking it down for me. He was like, "Look, man, like all these publications come and go. A lot of people will get fired from publication to get bought out by somebody, big or small or medium, but PR doesn't go anywhere because these it's more studios, there's more games, the industry continues to grow
Hmm.
at a pretty substantial pace, even to the point where some places are oversaturated, of course, but the work is always there for PR. And I had no idea why I never thought about that, but I was like, you're absolutely right. Especially as much as I see the emails that are coming in from PR, why did I never connect those dots and even think to work in that space? But yeah, a lot of people do it. It's a natural fit, it's a comfortable fit, and even from there, like the Game Informer guy going from EA, I'm at an agency with Evolve. I feel like, I mean, I'm a little biased, but I feel like it's one of the best PR agencies that's not like a first party group, right?
Yeah.
Um, I was in same situation as you, where I was outside looking in, working with Evolve, and that's why they were kind of one of the ones I wanted to work for because I had such a great experience with them. And um, I've seen other people that either even with just being on smaller teams or smaller games move up into bigger roles with bigger with publishers and jumping off to Ubisoft or something like that. Um, I can't say that I have the whole thing figured out just yet,
Right.
but
Right.
it seems like this is definitely one of the main pathways to it, going from journalism to PR into other things that you want to do. I've seen other people go from PR to game development. They're working on games. Somebody that used to work with Evolve, they just announced their game last week. And seeing
Nice.
that kind of stuff is super exciting for me because I honestly 100% never thought that I would be able to get onto a game development team, but I kind of see I'm seeing the matrix. I'm seeing the green letters and numbers now. I'm figuring it out. It's just I gotta increase my tool set and get there.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Um, I I am super excited for all the stuff that you guys are doing. And anything that's positive on Twitter, when I see it, I'm like, this is great because yeah, Twitter. So
I want to
so
apologize for my Batman tweets. I know some people take them, a certain type of way, not
the,
necessarily a positive
yo,
thing.
the Batman shade is the funniest thing I have seen in a long time on Twitter. I swear, because it'd be so subtle. I'm like, oh, that's a gut punch right there. Like, so great, so great. Um, beyond, I guess just talking about, your new field. We wanted to discuss kind of what we've done this week that was exciting or interesting or, you know, whatever. Which is kind of almost every week something interesting is happening because we're in COVID
Right.
season, and
Yeah,
because of that, life is a little weird. Um, with even just going, from point A to point B, things are just odd. Like for instance, I went to the store. My wife asked me to get some stuff, and I went out. And for whatever reason, the power, like you have like a the switch on your keys that like open the door and things of that nature. Like
right,
I guess there's a short or maybe the battery's dead. I don't know, but I went to like open my door, and all the other locks on the car like went up, except for that one, except for the driver's seat. And so I
Hmm.
go to open my door, and it's like it goes clink, and I can't get out. And so I'm like, okay. So I close it, or because it's like partially open. I close it, try to redo the lock, and then try to open again, and it does the same thing, and I can't get out. And so if you can imagine, a black person with like a mask on his face going to a store and is struggling to get out of his own car. Um, and the surrounding white people just look at me like, what is going on over here? It's just like it's just this is not normal. It's just not normal stuff. This that it's been happening. Outside of that though, I did also so two things. Tess, you know, we talked about how we feel about Amazon, and
Oh,
I got Amazon Prime because coming to America, we wanted to talk about that on the show,
yeah.
and you know they gave us a free month. But then I found out that A Different World is on Amazon Prime.
Uh-huh.
And now I am super considering keeping Amazon Prime. Um,
I got you.
because it's it's one of my it's one of my favorite shows, and
Yeah.
just rewatching it has been such a blessing in the sense that like it's first of all it's positive black stuff. So there's that.
Yeah.
And then when they do tackle like racism, sexism, they tackled AIDS, they tackle all these things. They do it in a way that's like unlike Family Matters in a sense where they have their
Yeah.
corny moments, but when they're serious, they're really good at it. And I was surprised every time I watch the show, I'm surprised at how well they tackled all these different issues with each
Right.
episode. Um, very, very good show. And so, like before I go to bed, it's like, okay, let me get in a couple episodes. And so that's been pretty freaking awesome. I also watched earlier today. I watched Godzilla versus King Kong, and I'm not going to spoil any of it for anybody who hasn't watched it. But what I will say is, I I I'm happy at what it is. Like I was pleased, I was
Mm.
excited. It was entertaining. The humans still are just throwaway characters, but they actually did okay in this sense. Like I wasn't annoyed all the time with the
Hmm.
characters. There was a particular young lady who played. I'm not sure if she's really deaf or not. She played a deaf character, but she did a really good job from at least from what I can see. And yeah, it was just some of the acting and stuff was pretty good. You know, because usually it's like they say something bad, it's a one-liner, or you follow them doing, silly stuff. Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things, I still don't
Hmm.
like her character, but whatever. Um, but the actual Godzilla and Kong punching each other, it was like WWE times 1,000, like literally grabbing the monster's head and like clotheslining him or ramming him through a building. Phenomenal. I wish I could have seen it in the theater as opposed to my phone, but it was great.
Oh,
And
wow.
and so that's been my week. It's just been weird occurrences outside and a lot of good content being streamed. What about you, Tess?
I just have to comment, there are times when we watch movies on our phones, but it's normally because we're at the doctor's office or, it's like, oh, I have 45 minutes in between these two things. I'm gonna sit over here and watch this on my phone, like work, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But like being forced to watch it on your phone because we can't go to the movie theaters is totally a different, like this is weird.
Yeah. It's a different vibe for sure.
Yes,
Not
it is.
okay. So another thing that I've noticed that is not okay. Obviously during COVID, traffic has been amazing. There's barely any cars on the road. It's great. It's just kind of wonderful. DC traffic is trash,
Right.
but it's been great. However, I've been noticing for the last, I would say, 2 weeks, um, that I guess people are starting to go back to work and school, and I don't like this one bit.
Wait.
I know, no. I need everyone to go back home. Everyone. I need you all to go back home. I do not like the fact that it takes more than 12 minutes to get to work now. It's not okay. I do not appreciate the fact that the meters have been turned on the ramps to the highway. Uh.
Ah,
No. Okay. If I have to pause and wait for a green light to let me go down the ramp to the highway so I can join traffic, what kind of nonsense is this? For a whole year, I've been able to just careen onto the highway. And now all of a sudden, y'all want to make me pause? First of all, I'm not even the one driving. I'm in the back seat of an Uber. Okay. But still,
wow,
that's
wow.
10 more seconds that I have to wait. And it's a pause, break, slow down, like the G forces on my neck. You know how I have the disc problems with my neck? I don't appreciate any of it. And I need it to end. So I need everybody to go back home and school needs to end just so that I can get to where I need to be in a timely fashion. That's how I feel.
That's
Might
terrible,
be
Tess.
selfish, but that's how I feel. Secondly, what other things did I do? I got an email, and the email said that I can schedule my COVID vaccine.
Awesome.
So,
Nice. Congratulations.
yeah, I
That's
think that's
awesome.
pretty dope, right? I'm like, yay, oh my God, I can join the several, I don't know how many thousands, and get the chip implanted into my body. I'm broken.
5D season. Let's go.
I want
Right?
to get it. I want to get it so I can travel and it doesn't. This is the funny thing. I can say that I want to get it so I can travel and I'll be safe and da da da. I'm not traveling. I'm broke. So honestly,
I empathize.
I'm already vaccinated in the fact that I only go to work and home. I don't do anything with my life. I'm boring. And I've been basically exposed to COVID multiple times because there's been 4 people that I've worked with or work around that have all had COVID and in the last 3 months, and I still haven't gotten it. And so I think I'm immune. I'm the one human that's immune. So so anyway, I'm like, I can get it now. They say I can get it. And I'm like, do I want to get it? Because I don't like getting sick. I don't know. Questions and choices. I have to think about that on my own. That's a personal problem.
But at least you got the
But that's
email
pretty much
though.
I did. And I feel like I'm part of a club.
That's what's
It
up.
Yeah.
does feel that way. It really does feel that way.
Yeah.
We are still
Yeah.
waiting. I think my dad, he works for the state, and so he was able to kind of set it up so he could get uh the shot. And then my mom in a similar fashion. So it was like kind of like when my dad was in the military, like if there's anything that we needed that he needed, they kind of passed it along to my mom.
Right.
And so they got their first shots last week,
Hmm.
and I think my dad is getting his this week, and then my mom is scheduled for another time, but they haven't stamped like a date just yet.
Hmm.
So she's still kind of waiting. But from all she said, it's they've been fine. It hasn't like affected them negatively. They're
Hmm.
they're a little worried about the second shot, and
Yeah,
they're
that's the one.
and
Yeah.
with them being older, they're not as internet savvy as we are, and so they hear stuff. Granted, thank goodness they're not on Facebook, but
Right.
they hear stuff, and so you know we're able to kind of relay like, no, this is what it is, this is what it isn't. You can still you know transfer or whatever, but you're safer with this. And so we
Yeah.
we had some conversations with them to kind of like make sure everything is cool. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm trying to plan a way that we can get it around having young kids. It's a little, your timing has to be right for that to
Hmm.
work.
Yeah.
Because like for instance, my son being 1 years old, uh he's getting vaccinations for other things right now,
Yeah.
and so he can't
Mm,
necessarily get that on top of it,
No.
of what he's getting. So it's like, do I want to get it now and then possibly? So it's like it's weird, you know what I'm saying? In terms of how but we are planning on trying to get it at the very least.
Yeah.
um but yeah, Charles, what about you?
shoot. With me, so because COVID is a thing.
Right.
The penny is outside. Um, I
Mhm.
I work. I
Can I?
already worked from home. Um, but working from home with the pandemic is a whole other vibe.
Yes.
Mhm.
And the majority of how I spend my time outside is gonna sound super weird to people, and y'all just gonna have to accept me for who I am. But so like me and my girlfriend are buying a house. We're getting a house built, right?
Nice.
Nice.
Yes,
Black
thank you.
home
And
ownership.
yes, yes. And very excited for that. Um and one of our pastimes is going to the neighborhood where the house is being built, which is about 20 minutes away or so.
So you're stalking.
Essentially, but
Mm,
it's straight up like we will just be like, you want to just go for a ride by the house? And that's what we do because we can't go, we really can't go anywhere else. We
right.
drive all the way over there. We are pretty sure all of the neighbors that we are going to have will be like, oh, so y'all are the ones that drove through here like twice a fucking week, um, at random points, at random times of day. We've already met one of our neighbors there, one of the families, but yeah, we do this a lot. And my girlfriend actually asked last week, I think, she was like, "Do we do this too much?" And I was like, "Well, probably,
Like, you had to ask.
but like I don't think we would be if the pandemic wasn't a thing, if COVID wasn't a thing.
Nah,
I don't think we'd be out there as often."
Nah, I look, I was when we were getting our house, yes, I was driving up and down. I was like, I have kids. I need to know if this place is safe. Let me see what the neighbors do. What y'all up to? Y'all having a cookout? Hey, what's good? What's good? We moving
Mhm.
in a month. Yeah, like I even when we were getting apartment, like a new apartment, 'cause we needed a bigger one, we would drive and be like, let's just check it out. Let's see what the vibe is like. Let's go at nighttime to see if it's different than the day. And there was one place I went to. I'm not gonna lie. When we drove up, it was daylight. We drove up.
Mhm.
I parked and got out. It just the sky went black, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm
no.
good. I've seen enough horror films. I am good.
Straight
I
up.
just a bad vibe. But yeah. I'm pretty sure, especially with you getting a house built, um, I think it would be a desire to kind of see the neighborhood, kind of see the house in stages. Like that's normal. That's not a yeah, that's
Yeah.
normal.
No, no, it's look, I appreciate you. You're being very nice right now. It's normal with an like to an extent. Like I in a normal situation, yes, definitely would have gone out there. But like, yo, we straight up just went and bought food and just sat in our car in front of this house that's being built. And that was our
Mm,
date. That was we just did that. That was what we did. Um I have
So,
gone grocery shopping at the new grocery store by this house. There are so many grocery stores in between here and that house. There is no need for me to go and do that, but I have done that. Um, I know all the restaurants that are over there now. I know the gyms that are on that side, little dentist places. There's a drive-through daiquiri place. Like I know that area so well now.
you know what? I think you're good as long as you don't drive over there, park in front of the house, get out, and then go for a jog. Like you
See,
live there.
okay, see you joke.
Oh gosh.
No, I didn't do that. I did consider it though, just randomly when I saw somebody else jogging out there because it's like a really nice the way that it's set up for you to run through there is actually really nice and you have trails and everything. But I did consider it, but no, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I'm not gonna do that.
That's what's up.
We should we should be moving in May, so I have plenty of
okay.
time to explore more there. But that has been the outside times for me other than walking around my own little neighborhood at my apartment, getting some
Mm.
steps in. But other than that, there's been some scatterbrain gaming going on. Um, I play Overwatch and Apex Legends every now
Nice.
and then. That's
Mhm.
kind of like soon as work is done, I just jump on there and do a few matches, and depending on who is on late, I'll do some Overwatch with them.
Mm.
Um, but with me, I lean more on single player games, and
Okay.
I've just like trying to get a feel for certain things, just like feel out where my brain is at this point. And like I downloaded all these games, and none of them were clicking for me. I did Shenmue 3, which was clicking for a little bit, in Total War, a
Okay.
couple of those games, but those were going to be filler because I knew I was waiting for Disco Elysium, the final cut, to come out, which came out yesterday.
Mm.
The day before yesterday.
I super want to play that. Not even gonna hold you.
Yes, yes, yo, it's. I'm only a few hours in. I haven't quite reached where I was because I played it before. Only about 3 hours, and then I stopped when the final cut was announced, and I was like, I'll just wait to play it in that version.
Word.
So now I'm doing it, and it's very dialogue narrative driven, very heavy on the dialogue part, and but I'm enjoying it. The writing is so good. It's so interesting. A lot of it is going so far over my head, but I'm there. I'm riding. I'm like, give me more of this. It's also a murder mystery, and I love mysteries and stuff like that. And I feel like I don't get enough gaming murder mysteries. So yeah, in this particular package, I am all about it.
That's what's
And
up.
Sounds
yeah,
fun.
and movie wise, I actually watched The Matrix yesterday. I purchased the 4K copy of that because I didn't own it yet.
Mm.
And yesterday happened to be the 22nd anniversary of that. So I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and pop that open and watch it. I couldn't sleep at the time, and that movie holds up so well.
It does. It does. I'm
Like,
looking forward to the new one.
yes, I'm glad the Wachowskis are doing it. Otherwise, I would have been very scared. But it's The Matrix might be one of those like perfect action movies
It's up
because like
there.
The
It's
first
up
one.
there.
Yeah.
yeah, the first one, yeah. The second one I feel is a perfect action movie in a very different way. Because like because the story, yeah, it's a little ridiculous, but the action in the second movie is pretty amazing to see. I
Mm,
don't know how well it holds up compared to the first
It not
though. 'Cause
well. I'm not even gonna hold you.
no,
It
no.
doesn't.
no.
It's. I think a lot of what's cool about the Matrix was reversed in the second one. The
Mm,
the Matrix, the first one was if there's slow motion, it's really just to slow things down so you can see it because
It's
everything
bigger.
moves
to
really
tell a
quickly.
particular moment, right?
Right. Or it's because they speed it up to show how fast someone's moving. So like when
Mm,
Agent Smith is dodging the bullets and you see like the after effects of him, it's like, oh, he's moving
Mhm.
ridiculously fast. Or when Neo's doing something in slow mo when he's running on the walls, it's not to show you. It's not to. It's cool, but it's really to show you that he's moving super duper fast, right? In the
mhm.
second Matrix, it was like I'm gonna walk down the stairs in slow mo just cause.
Right. It was
I'm
perfect.
I'm gonna sip this whatever. There's literally a moment where someone's drinking and it's in slow motion. It has nothing to do with nothing, but it's
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
totally. And I'm being honest with you. I remember the first movie. I remember everything that happens in the Matrix, right? The second movie, the only thing I remember is all the plugs on what's her face's back and two black people and some people with dreads
the
and a
twins.
Not a Cadillac CTS, whatever. That's
I
literally it.
I knew that the Cadillac and the Dreads people would at least be mentioned at some
Yes,
point
Yo,
during
the
the movie.
why
twins.
not?
If they ever do a prequel, I want to see the twins because that intangibility stuff was amazing. Like
Yeah,
the twins almost made that a decent watch. Almost. Like
yeah,
I was like, and then they well, spoilers if you haven't seen the Matrix 2 and it's whatever. The way they die, I'm just like, like this is such a cool character. Like forget Agent
yeah.
Smith. Did you see what he just did? That whole
Right.
yeah, bananas, bananas. But
Yeah.
let's so let's move on to our main topic. So we can talk about like this stuff all day long, our weeks. Um, one of our main topics actually has to do with Eddie Murphy, and not because of Coming to America too. We spoke about that in length a couple of podcasts ago. And look, I know some of you are still mad at me that I didn't like the movie. I'm sorry, okay? It just not as good as it could have been. Um, there was so much asinine in that film. However, that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about, or rather, we are celebrating Eddie Murphy because he recently was inducted into the NAACP Image Award Hall of Fame. Or I guess that's how
Mhm.
you say that. He got an Image Award, or he's in the Hall of Fame. Basically, he's up there with some of the elite black people up there,
Yeah.
which is interesting to me because I thought he was already there just because he's Eddie Murphy. Um,
Right.
all the stuff that
Yeah.
he's done, the records that he broke, and some of the barriers that he knocked down, I just assumed he was there. Matter of fact, I had to double check because I remember him. He got his star, the Walk of Fame, Hall of Fame star,
Mhm.
um, prior to this, and I was like, that's really odd. I just expected him to be there.
Already be up there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and granted, I'm not gonna lie. Like they have the greats in this Hall of Fame. Like they have the Four Tops, They have Marvin Gaye. They have Sammy Davis Jr. They have Ella Fitzgerald, Ray Charles, Sidney Poitier. Like they have a lot of good people, a lot of big people, right? So yeah, I'm not saying that he's that they need to rush or anything because the people that they put in are big in everything that they do.
Hmm.
Mhm.
However, it's just like he just makes sense. Like
Yeah.
if you're gonna have Bill Cosby and some of these other people in there, I'm like you gotta have Eddie Murphy. Like
Yeah.
it just makes sense. It really does. But yeah, he was. I want to say this previous Saturday, he was given the award by Arsenio Hall,
Yeah.
and he talked a little bit about the things that he's done, the fact that he's been in over I think 40 movies he's been in, his stand-ups. He even made fun of his red suit in Delirious,
Shoot.
which I still think is amazing. I would never wear it, but I think that's amazing. Uh,
Me too.
and so like, I it's really interesting though that it took this long, and I don't know what the prerequisites are. I know that him kind of coming back out and making two films back to back was kind of part of it.
Mm.
I don't know if they thought like he retired early. Um, you know what I'm saying? Because like because he was saying that he was making a lot of movies that were just like bombed critically.
Right.
And then some of them even at the box office just didn't sell. And so he felt the way and was like, maybe I need to slow down. And so he took some time off. Um, and so I think maybe people thought like, oh, he's retiring. He's not doing stand up anymore. He's not making movies. So, we'll kind of hold off giving him, this praise or this honor. Um, hopefully not, they weren't thinking like, when he dies, we'll give it to him. But the idea that like, you know what, some of these other people kept going or, or whatever. And so him coming back was like, oh, Eddie Murphy's back. This is a
Yeah.
perfect time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I'm happy about that. I think he belongs in this group,
Yeah.
and I hope he continues to do some amazing stuff.
Yep.
Oh,
I'm with
me
you on
too.
that. Me too.
Um, I think I totally understand what you mean with like expecting him to already be there. I feel like he's had the presence, and when he's discussed, it feels like he's someone that's already in that space.
Right.
Someone
Hmm.
that's in has the Hall of Fame award, and he's in our collective Hall of Fame
Yeah.
already.
Right.
I felt that way about him for a very, very long time. And I feel like there was a period with him, like you mentioned him taking a break. I'm looking at his IMDb just to kind of get an idea of when that really happened, and it was after he kind of tried to go a more serious route with his acting, which sucks. He only did one movie, and I
Yeah.
remember that that one was kind of
What, Dream
critically
Girl?
panned. Mr. Church in 2016.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Uh, which the subject matter for that particular movie, I can kind of understand that one being an issue. But when did the Dream Girl one? When did that one even come out?
Oh
That was
man.
2006.
And actually he was for that role, they actually I think he was up for an award for that role, I believe.
Yeah. I think
Uh
so too. I mean, that
In Dream Girl or in Mr. Church?
Dreamgirl.
Dream Girls.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yep,
Like a
yeah,
supportive, like people were saying that he did really, really well, supportive. And he can do
He did.
serious. I just think like
definitely.
I think he need either it's I don't know who was writing the latter films for him or if
Mm,
he was writing them. But they needed an editor or someone to be like, no. Like I
yeah.
think like and not to cut you off, but like where a comedian or someone who does this kind of gets free reign to do whatever they want. And usually when you kind of work in a box, you have to uh, you know you have to do things a little bit smarter, a little bit you work with what you got essentially. And when you're
Mm,
given free reign, you're just like, oh, let's try everything. And unfortunately, that doesn't work. I mean,
right.
he was in a sci-fi film like the was it Pluto Nash, I think it was called, and
Yep.
he did the uh more of the clumps. He did the oh man, it was just all over the place with his movies, in terms of tone and child friendly or not child friendly, and it was rough after a while.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I feel like he started to kind of water down and stuff. because like I didn't even know that there was a Beverly Hills Cop TV movie that he was in 2013.
Oh, I didn't either. What?
Yeah, it had a different lead. Yeah, it had a different lead, and I guess he made a cameo in that, and
See,
that's super weird.
yeah, we can't do
Wait,
that.
I feel like, yeah, wait, no.
No, no, no.
Yeah,
That don't even sound good. Like,
no, it really doesn't. And you know what? It makes sense because there was this phase where they tried to take these comedy franchises that were largely black led and kind of like revive them, reboot them in different ways. Like we had a Rush Hour TV show, we had Lethal Weapon, and
Yeah,
apparently Beverly Hills Cop. All of them bombed because it's a terrible idea.
very, very terrible idea.
yeah, if it's not a, if they, the only way that I could see that working is if they actually did a continuation where the original actors and stuff came in, and it was
Hmm.
like a mini series. Like it's not supposed to keep going. It's just like we had more story to tell, and so we're gonna do like a 5 episode or like a, you know what I mean, something like that on HBO where it's like, and we're
Hmm.
done, you know. But like
Yeah,
an
yeah,
ongoing show, I don't know, man. That's a hard sell for me. Like,
yeah. Definitely a hard sell for me. Like,
good night.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
good on that.
yeah, no.
But coming to America, getting a sequel, it felt like I haven't watched it yet, by the way. But I'm cool with spoilers. I'm going to watch it. But I feel like that one was more. It made sense. It's unfortunate that it's not as good as it could have been, but
Yeah,
it seemed like it was more of a passing of the torch or these characters' older story
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't opposed to it existing. And
Yeah.
seeing the list of people that was going to be in it, I was like, you know what, this is going to be a lot of fun for them. Um, I hope it's good, but I'm glad they're getting the opportunity to do it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Uh, so that's kind of. I still want him to do other stuff after this though, because I've always felt like he was a fully capable actor, not just
Oh, totally.
comedy. Like when even in the comedies when there needed to be serious moments, he didn't seem out of place. So it's really weird that we haven't seen him do more things. You know what I'm saying? Like, forgive me for this shot that I'm about to take, but shout out to Chris Rock, another legend, and he apparently pitched the idea for the movie that he's doing now, Spiral, which is the
yeah,
Saw movie, right?
yeah.
I don't know if you watched the second trailer for that yet.
I did. I think I know where you're going.
Well, uh, it's his acting in that. I can already tell is very much going to be. This is Chris Rock in this character. This isn't him. This isn't him embodying someone else. He sounded
Mm-hmm.
just like himself doing stand up, and
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah,
throws some of those scenes that they showed off so bad. But I could see Eddie doing that role and doing it really, really well. Like imagine seeing him in a horror movie
Mm-hmm.
with Sam
yeah.
Jackson. I would love to see something like that. So I don't know I don't know if he's holding himself back or if people just aren't reaching out or something, but I hope something happens from this point on because I don't think he's done. I think he's far from being done as an entertainer.
Totally.
Yeah, I definitely want to see more.
I feel like this was almost like just a warming up, so that we just see him more.
Yeah.
Just bringing him back to the forefront when he was in every movie every year. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I don't feel like this was like, oh, this is my opus. I'm done. Like,
Right.
okay.
I
I
hope
hope
not.
not.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No,
Yeah.
you can't. You're not gonna end. I mean, like, I'm gonna. First of all, nobody can end on anything right now because we're in the middle of a parallelogram and nothing makes sense. So, like, why would you end anything when nobody can be normal right now? Like, no, we need life to go back to normal. You can end stuff afterward. So, yeah,
And even to say that, like, and granted, I don't know how much his films that were being bombed, that bombed like critically, how much they made, but Coming to America 2 made money.
yeah,
Hmm.
Based on
Hmm.
their what they budgeted and then how much Amazon paid for it, and any type of residuals that they might have, I'm pretty sure it's going to be sold eventually, like where people can actually purchase it. Yeah,
yeah.
they made money. And then there's also the fact that they where they filmed it at, where they were able to save money on that end. They, because part of it was filmed in Rick Ross's house.
Yeah.
Um, a part of it was filmed at Tyler Perry's. He has his own
His studio.
his
Yeah.
Yeah.
studio or whatever. So like
Mm-hmm.
just a lot of good things going into it monetarily that I'm pretty sure even if there's enough black people that are gonna like it that he's gonna get another shot at something. Like
Mm,
Shoot.
and
There are a lot of white people who liked it.
facts.
yeah.
Everybody, people were just who knew I have you seen it? Have you seen it? I'm like, yeah, yeah, I saw it. Oh my god, it was such a great movie. And I'm like, are you saying that? No, I like obviously we talked about this. I enjoyed the movie thoroughly. I don't think it's a great movie. It's not a great movie by any means, but I enjoyed it because I was laughing because it was so
Mm,
stupid. Like,
mm.
so yeah,
I,
I think
I think he was like you were saying before, like they look like they were having fun. They look like they
Mm,
yeah,
enjoyed themselves, that they had a great time.
yeah,
Being able to see everybody again.
yeah,
So that's to me that was the biggest takeaway. Being able to see all of these people together again,
yes,
it felt like they were having a reunion and you were kind of a part of it.
yeah,
So
mhm,
in that sense, for nostalgia and things of that nature, that was dope. It was
yeah.
just like I just need someone to punch up the writing and to not make very weird decisions. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, shout out to Eddie Murphy. I'm glad he got, he's in the Hall of Fame now. I think he needs to get all of his kudos and awards now. Let's not wait till
Yeah.
he passed. And also, this is a shot for everyone who keeps comparing him to Kevin Hart. Stop it.
wait,
What?
what?
Stop it.
Pardon me?
Is this a thing?
What's
So
this?
there's these memes that be going around where they're asking like, has Kevin Hart eclipsed Eddie Murphy yet? And when it comes to is at least when it comes to stand up, I think the records that Kevin Hart is putting up are actually pretty big. Like he can actually stand up there with a lot of the greats because he sold out like football stadiums. At the same
Hmm.
time though, all the stuff that Eddie's done, like your movies are not touching any of Eddie's movies. You don't have the pull that he has. You don't have the amount of capital that he has. There's so many things that Eddie is outdoing you in that it's going to take a little while. The stand up might be real close. I think he's number two in terms of like all time, like the amount of money he's grossed, but
Hmm.
in one film. I think he's like right. He's right with Eddie or like slightly above him.
Hmm.
So he has that stat. But as far as like career in all around, I don't think he's there. And so hopefully this
Got some
award,
thoughts there.
yeah, hopefully this award will tell you that he is not like him and Kevin Hart are not on the same in the same ballpark right now, fam. Like that's not
I just, who is these people? Are these like young people?
people.
Are these like 8 year olds? Like, no, seriously. Like, are these like 21-year olds who just figured out who Eddie Murphy is?
It's the same people who keep doing the Jordan and LeBron comparisons, and it's like just stop already. Like let LeBron be great, okay? Like you don't have to
Right.
compare all the time. And so that's what it
Right.
is. It got a lot of black people up in arms, and I'm not mad at it because it's foolishness.
Yeah, exactly. And we didn't even know until now. We didn't know until now. See, this is why I stay off the internet. I don't want to be pissed off. I don't like being disappointed.
Yeah,
Why
everybody
can't we just have
be wilding out.
multiple black people who are great at something getting accolades? Why we got to put them against each other? This is nonsense.
Very, very true. But I'm also about to put them against each other. Hold on just a second. But understand, like Kevin Hart is going to I believe if he hasn't already, I think he's going to eclipse every black comedian when it comes to their gross, in one event, selling out a stadium, whatever, his movies. And
Right.
that's because it's the perfect time for him. It's like it's the perfect time, and he is much more palatable than a lot of the other black comedians. Like he's much
Yes.
more palatable than um Eddie, Dave Chappelle, even Chris Rock to audiences outside of black audiences, if you get what I'm saying.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Like
Yes. He's
and
very
that
safe.
yeah, he's very safe, and that's not a criticism of him. It's a smart business move on
Mm-hmm.
his
Oh yeah,
part. And when you're comparing people, I feel like you have to take stuff like that into account because he's gonna have these numbers, but does that make him better than Dave Chappelle? Does that make him better than Eddie Murphy? I don't think so, no. But I actually like seeing things where they can coexist and joke about each other, like Dave Chappelle stand up about Kevin Hart
right,
and
right.
about how popular Kevin Hart is and just
Mm-hmm.
joking about how it makes him sick and his kid loves him. That shit's
Mm-hmm.
funny. Like let that exist. We don't need to be sitting here talking about, oh, is he better than Eddie Murphy? That's ridiculous.
Right.
Like we can get down into the gritty details with all of that, but it's just a different world. I feel like a more apt comparison would be the height of Kevin not Kevin what is his name? Another black comedian that was on a real high and then just like
Oh, Cat Williams.
disappeared. Cat Williams. Yes, I feel like Kevin and Cat were in the same space at
Uh-huh.
one
Yeah,
point where
Mhm.
the like Kev Cat has kind of shifted away from that now, but Cat had some he was not necessarily safe, but more palatable, like a wider audience for a while.
yeah.
And I feel like he was on Kevin's trajectory.
Yeah.
And then he just went wild. I don't know what happened.
It was drugs.
Drugs? Okay, it was drugs. I didn't want to I know that drugs were said at some points, but I didn't know if that was like actually the case. But
I don't know. I'm just repeating
he
what the internet say. That's why I stay off the
it I
internet.
mean it felt like drugs to me. It felt like drugs, like and like yo, I don't think I've ever even talked to anybody about this, but like I was a fan of his and I hated that he disappeared. So when I saw him on that episode of Atlanta, like it was
Yeah,
so heartwarming to me to see him again on a really popular thing and him being funny as hell doing that role.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was I want him to bounce back too. Like I actually watched his recent stand up. It was pretty cool. But long story short, so let all of them be their successful selves and thrive in their spaces, and we can support all of them. If you
yeah,
don't like them,
Yeah.
fine. Because I don't like Kevin Hart stand up anymore. I used to.
yeah. I used to like when he was talking about how short he is and how he doesn't fight people. Uh,
Right.
Mhm.
And the
that's
way his bank account was set up.
yes, like that was cool. And like and the stuff when he talked about his family, but it was a little bit more personable. I feel like now he's way too safe, but not safe like in terms of like I guess PC. I think he's safe
Mm,
because he doesn't share anything that's personable anymore. He shares very surface level. Like my kid
yeah,
said
funny
something
little
funny.
situations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, nah, you had some really heartfelt, even though it was jokes, you had some really heartfelt stuff that you were sharing that I laughed because not only was it funny, but I can relate. And I
Mm-hmm.
can't relate to millionaire Kevin. Like
Yeah.
I just can't. You know what I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
saying? Um, so yeah,
But
so shout out to oh sorry, go ahead.
I'll throw one more thing. Uh, it might be a little controversial, but I like his movie appearances though.
Oh,
Like
Kevin's?
a lot of them. Yes.
They're hit or miss for me. I depends on the role because sometimes I think when they let him off the leash a little bit, like when they let him just I want you to freestyle this right here. It's
Yeah.
Mm,
it's it's golden because he
mhm.
has his the other actors are laughing because of what he's saying. But
Right.
but when I think it's like too scripted to where like for instance the movie he did with The Rock.
Which one,
Right
sir? Because
along.
he's been in all of them.
No, it was oh
Are
right.
you talking about the Fast and Furious one?
Yeah, the Fast and the Furious when he did that. Uh, and no, not Fast and Furious. When he was in the movie where the guy, I guess he was like a kid that was picked on, and then he got older and he turned into The Rock. And God, what's the name of that film? And he was like a
Wasn't it
secret
right?
agent.
It wasn't right along.
No, it wasn't.
No, it
That
wasn't.
was with Ice Cube.
I know which one you're talking about.
Okay.
And like The Rock was a secret agent, but he still acted like a high school kid. And Kevin Hart was the popular kid in school, and he grew up to be like, selling cars. But
Yeah.
they ended up getting together, and it was hilarious. But then I look at Right Along, and I felt like he took the place of Mike Epps, and it just wasn't funny. To
Oh
me.
yeah, that he's definitely not Mike Epps,
Yeah, you know
and
what I
that
mean? Like,
chemistry wasn't there.
yeah, it was just it felt forced. So for him, it's hit or miss. I think when he's allowed to be himself, it works. And
Hmm.
other times, I feel like they're trying to push him into like, yo, we need a Chris Tucker here, or we need a such and such here, and so they have him
Yeah,
act in that fashion, and it doesn't work for every film.
yeah.
Um,
Central Intelligence.
yes, that movie was funny, especially the therapy part when they went to therapy. That was great. That was bonkers. Like if you watch that movie, watch the deleted scenes, and that's what I mean by funny and letting him off his leash. They had to do that
Yeah.
scene so many times because he said something different each time. Like
Yeah.
it was great. But yeah, moving on to our second topic. This one is a little bit more what's the word? It's not as celebratory, even though we were gonna try
Yeah.
to celebrate. In a sense, um, Jessica Walker,
Walter.
Walter, sorry, Walter,
Hmm.
um, recently passed away. I believe that was on March 24th of this year. Um, and it's whenever like one of the comedians or actors or basically celebrities that you've kind of you've seen them come from, like, basically they've been around for a long time, and
Hmm.
Forever.
you kind of just know that they're going to be around, like, before, Bill Cosby did the stuff that he did. I was like, Bill Cosby's never gonna die.
Right.
Was it Morgan
Hmm.
Freeman is always gonna be the same age? You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Um,
And so is Akeem's dad, Jackie Jones.
exactly, right? Like, so like when they do pass, it's like, dang. But at the same time, we don't necessarily want to mourn. We kind of want to be, celebratory. Like, you know what? I remember when, that sort of thing. And so my biggest things that I remember her from was the Arrested Development show
Hmm.
and Archer, because Archer is one of my favorite shows.
Hmm.
And I know she's been in 90210 and Star. I think she was on Star Trek or Star Wars. She was on something. It's with stars. She's been in a ton of plays at Broadway.
Yeah, God.
She's won primetime Emmy awards. Like, she's done a lot, right? She's
Hmm.
just done a
Hmm.
lot as an actress. And so though it was sad. It was sad to hear about
Yeah.
her passing. And it also kind of made me reflect on the things that she's done, because again, thinking that these people are always going to be here, you kind of take what they do for granted. It's like, oh yeah, they're going to be in another film. I'm going to watch it. That's dope. Not thinking like this might be their final film, or they might even not even like passing away, just like they might retire. They might want to do something else. So it's like, man, like, I really, it was one of those similar to like when like a musician dies. It's like I want to go listen to all their films, or I'm
Hmm.
sorry, not films, all their music. I wanted to go watch all of Archer and just like, you know what I mean, like just see all of
Yeah.
her scenes, because I was like, man, like it's a bummer, but then I'm like, you know what, she did an amazing job. She had an amazing run, you know,
Yeah.
you know, doing all her different roles and being on TV for for so long. Solid, just solid.
Yeah.
Straight up.
I agree. I agree. She was in everything. Again, I felt the exact same way. I was like, she's gonna live forever. La la la. Like, this is great. Da da da. And then this final season of I shouldn't say final season because it's not the final season, but the last season of Archer that came on, I just remember listening, just listening, and sometimes, when you watch Archer for however many seasons it's been on now, you kind of just start to notice little things. And I
Yeah,
know that they don't record in the same place. They're like, two of them are in New York, three of them are in LA, two of them are in Georgia. Like, they're not in the same place. And so sometimes if you kind of just take the time to listen, you can kind of hear editing. You can kind of tell
yeah,
certain things. And that's just because I've watched like the same episodes of Archer probably 15 times. And so past season, I remember watching it. I was listening to her voice and I was like, she sounds tired.
mm,
She didn't sound the same as the season before. I'm not saying that she was physically tired, but it was just something that I noticed and it just stuck with me. It just stuck. And I was like, her voice sounds like 10 years older than last year or something. And that was just
Mm.
something that I noticed. But I mean, her husband recently died as well, and so like I turn on my phone and I see it's Jessica Walter. I was like, no, no, and yeah, so I was a little not okay. Just a little not okay. But we did want to, mention her and celebrate all of the work that she's done. Just like you said, she had a great career, an amazing career. So,
Yeah,
um,
she was
yeah,
definitely booked and busy, as the young people say.
Yeah.
yeah,
I looked at her IMDb. I never just looked at the full list.
hmm,
But, like, straight up since 1960, just
Yeah.
every year she was in something.
yeah,
Like, features, TV series as a regular.
yeah,
Like, it was pretty crazy. And, like, with my experience with her, of course, I'd seen her and I've definitely heard her voice, like, as I was growing up,
hmm,
right? But I didn't start to actually watch for her until I watched Arrested Development.
hmm,
That was the thing that got me hooked. Her as Lucille Bluth was
Yeah.
absolutely hysterical. She bodied that role.
hmm,
And that's like, when I think of her, that's the version that comes to mind. Archer, I've watched a little bit. I never watched it consistently, but Arrested Development was it. But
right,
yeah, it's pretty crazy to look back at the things that she's done,
hmm,
and she's just been everywhere. And it's an assumption, of course, but I feel like for someone that's been around for that long and has been busy, I assume that they're probably a joy to work with.
right,
And because I mean, they've touched so many lives. She's touched so many lives throughout her
hmm,
career. Like, yeah, you hate to see someone like that go, but it is fantastic to celebrate her work. She's definitely a
yeah,
legend.
And it's really interesting also with when you realize that you've been hearing or seeing this person and not know. Like it reminds me of I was talking to someone because I'm a big horror film fan,
hmm,
and I was talking about Nightmare on Elm Street and how
hmm,
I knew Johnny Depp was in it, but didn't know he was Johnny Depp, even though I knew he was Johnny Depp. Like he wasn't the Johnny Depp yet. He wasn't
right,
like, what I'm saying. He was still, it was Edward Scissorhands to me. It was this random kid in this film. It was, what I'm saying. But when he Pirates of the Caribbean and I go back and I watch it now and I'm like, oh wait, that's Johnny Depp. And it's like I
hmm,
knew that but didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm,
so um with her, with Jessica, it was like I didn't realize that she was Fran Sinclair on the dinosaurs. But her voice is the same.
mhm,
And you know what I mean? And so like I knew it subconsciously, but didn't know her until we could actually see her on screen more often. And a
hmm,
bunch of other things that like her having a guest appearance on the CSI or something like that. Like it's like I've seen you a lot,
hmm,
and it wasn't until later on that I kind of matched the voice with the name or matched the voice with the face, and I was like, oh, that's who the person that I keep seeing. So like with that, it's like you were saying about her touching other people, or, so many people. It's like she touched people who view her or who watched her all these years and just didn't know it.
mhm,
Like you just didn't know that this was the person. And so watching something like Archer, where I'm like, this is animated and I don't, I recognize some of the voices, but not everybody. Hearing her voice, I'm like, oh, that reminds me of someone. And so it
hmm,
was like there's like a kinship there, even though I've never actually met this person. It's just they've been around for my most of my life. Um,
yeah,
and so that was interesting, like going back down memory lane and kind of looking at her older work and being like, oh my gosh, I knew that she was there. You know what
hmm,
I mean? And so even though it's sad, I will say that it's dope to be a fan of hers and not know it for all these years. It's dope that she was able to go peacefully. From what I'm reading,
right,
it was it was in her home, surrounded by family, um, which is a good thing. With so many
mhm,
things going on and so many people, so many tragic things that you hear about, someone passing away in a peaceful manner is a win. As sad as that sounds, that's a win, especially with COVID and people getting sick and things like that. It's like, from what her family has been saying, she she wasn't it wasn't a struggle. It wasn't, something along those lines. And so, yeah, man, shout out to her and her family. Prayers out to you guys, and I hope that, we can continue to remember her fondly. Um, and I hope that they do her right on Archer. If they continue the show, I hope that they, there's a proper send off, not just like,
Right.
she went upstairs and never came back type of stuff. Um,
That's the kind.
shows do that. Shows do that.
Yes, namely, um, what's it called? Family Matters. Yeah.
That was rough. That was
That
that
was
was
so rough.
that was really, really rough. And
Literally walked up the stairs and never came down ever.
her parents should feel so bad for that. Like just so, so bad. Um, so yeah, so our next topic on today's show is going to be about Netflix. And for once, it's not bad. So shout out to Netflix. Nah,
Yeah.
Netflix is been in an interesting spot for a while because they have been in uh the red for like for so long
Yeah.
in terms of they pay for the shows or whatever up front, and then they kind of try to recoup on the amount of subscribers. And for a while, even though they were bringing in a lot of cool shows, they were always like just stuck in red. Even though people were like, they're gonna round the bend eventually, they were kind of stuck. And come to find out, and so with them being stuck, you have Disney Plus coming out and Disney pulling all of their content. You have Paramount Plus, them pulling all of their content like Frasier and whatnot. You
Hmm.
have so and then HBO Max, and HBO is just dumping all of their films, or Warner Bros. Is dumping all their films into HBO. So it's like, wow, like you were already you weren't struggling per se, but you were having some issues, and then you have stiff competition coming out with a lot of content that people want to see. And you only have time for so much, right?
Yeah.
um but then to find out that not only did Netflix do extremely well uh closing out 2020, but they did well more than I thought they could ever do. Right. um so shout out to CNET and Joan Solzman. I'm actually looking at her article, pulling from this information, but apparently Netflix subscribers surpassed 200 million at the end of last year. And
Wow.
they are the world's biggest streaming service.
Yeah.
Um, and just to let you know, if we were to take let's say let's see, HBO Max has 12 million. Yeah, roughly 12 million. I think Disney Plus is around 80 million, I think. Yeah,
Mm.
just about. Yeah, it's not even close. Like like they've skyrocketed, and because of that, obviously their stock has jumped up. And I believe they're inching closer to being in the black, which is, I don't really remember when they were in the black. I think when they were only doing the DVDs, like sending them out, which
Yeah.
they still do, by the way. Um, when they were doing that service by itself, I believe they were in the black, and then after that, it was kind of like just banking on their subscribers. But now they're just, I mean, they're doing really, really well.
Yeah.
They've actually increased, I think 8 million subscribers since October and December. Um, yeah, it's so they're up at like 233.66 million. It's a big number, basically, people. And
Okay.
I didn't expect that to happen. I knew people were going to be watching all these services just because of COVID. Like you're at home,
Yeah.
no one
Hmm.
wants to pay for cable. Like talking about, there's all these, you know, everyone has like an exclusive film, right? Like Netflix has exclusive films, Disney has exclusive shows. Um, you know what I'm saying? And so like you're gonna have one of them at the very least. And but at the same time, I didn't expect Netflix to like balloon like this. I
Yeah.
really thought that Disney Plus and some of these others were gonna cut into its market, and Netflix like, nah, fam. we they're like they're like, we've been doing this for too long. And I knew, like, when the CEO was talking about all these, the competition coming in, and he was talking about how it was healthy and all those other things. I'm like, you have something up your sleeve that you're not telling people, because There's no way you're calm right now. Like, especially with them announcing Disney Plus, like the rates were cheaper,
Uh-huh.
like
Hmm.
than Netflix, and Netflix keeps going up, and the fact that they still have surpassed everyone by like miles. I'm like,
So let me
wow.
ask this. Let me ask y'all this. Do you think that Netflix created coronavirus?
See,
Because it
terrible.
makes sense. I mean, we're in the middle of a kaleidoscope right now. And so with all of this nonsense and Netflix making mad, mad money, and it was like they knew it was gonna happen. I mean, I don't know. These 5G people might be onto something. And Netflix.
I mean, they did have mad documentaries up about COVID, like day two. So
Seriously, the facts. I watched all of them.
I was okay. I don't know how you did that to yourself. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. But I was shocked though. I was like scrolling through and they're like, number one trending, COVID or whatever. And not even only that, it was the
Coronavirus
documentaries.
explained.
It was
Coronavirus explained.
it was that, and it was the was it the rom com centering around COVID? Like, I was like, Netflix is either they were like, you know what, this is coming, let's jump on this, or they knew it. They move quick.
They had to have had a meeting, like when the reality started to set in for COVID, where somebody was like, "Everybody, it's time. This is our moment. This is it.
and
This is
people,
put up
and
or shut up right here."
that one person at the table was like, "Y'all, this is humanely wrong, like to capitalize on this tragedy." The other person was like, "You're fired. Everybody else gets a bonus. How do we make this work for us?"
Somebody in there, like I can't say that I wouldn't have been the person in there. Like, look, we are doing the world a service here
Yeah,
because we are keeping people inside.
yeah,
Facts.
yeah.
Facts.
Like, you guys, we are a verb and
Hmm.
a noun.
Yep.
Yes.
How is that possible?
Netflix is hey, they turned up in the right way, and but what's crazy is that I don't know how they're doing it in terms of content because they have so much now. Like I want to say at the beginning of this year they said they were gonna have a new film every week.
Yep. Then they're
I
doing that
mean,
every
did they
single week for this
specify
year.
if it was going to be a good film? Or, I
Well,
mean,
But
here's the
we knew it was gonna be a little shaky.
yeah, it was yeah they're you know what I'm saying five if they release five, two of them might be fire, the other three but what was surprising outside of the amount of films was who was in the films.
Yep.
Um, there was a lot of big stars. Like I think The Rock is in a film. Dave Batista. They made sure they get the wrestlers in there. Um,
mhm.
they got a
Mhm.
lot of people.
They even capitalized on some of the like mid tier stars that are kind of on the come up a little bit. Like they had a
Yeah.
sci-fi movie with Anthony Mackie and the kid that's the lead in Snowfall now.
Oh,
Yes.
Um,
yeah.
yeah, they had a movie together. It was worth watching. It was okay. It was fun, but like just to see the scope of people that they
Right.
have in the
That's
mix.
money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not little money. That's money. Um, and I
And,
think
like,
their films fit too. If you think about it, even if they're not great, it's like this is a popcorn. I'm just gonna chill. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a big blockbuster. It's just like I'm just almost like going to Blockbuster. Using the word again, but going to Blockbuster and picking up like a B film and being okay with it, right? It's
Yeah.
like they have a ton of
There's
that,
room for that.
and it just like you're like, why not? And then that why not turns into I'm gonna keep my subscription because there's a bunch of why nots here. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Look, let me get into the Netflix bag a little bit
Are
here.
they short films? Like, they
No,
should be
no, these are features.
Yeah,
These
feature.
are whole features.
feature
Like
film.
the one that I'm looking forward to the most right now is the Concrete Cowboy,
Oh
the one with
yeah,
Idris Elba and the black kid from Stranger Things, I think,
yeah,
as his son. Like that looks super interesting, and that's one I feel like if it came out in theaters, it'd be playing just on a couple screens. It wouldn't be
right.
everywhere, but I'm here for it. Like they're spending money on these different ideas and these different stories. And like I saw an article. I need to research a little bit more. It was also on CNET about how their diversity is getting a bit better. And just looking at the
Yeah.
Netflix home screen, I feel like that's the case. Just the stuff that they pull in. But one of the things that was wild to me, Disney Plus, when it was announced, right? The
Yeah.
conversation, of course, is going to pick up. Is Disney Plus going to be the Netflix killer, right? And
Mm.
Yeah.
I felt like people were really out of pocket in that conversation because, like, I I feel you. Disney's about to open the vault, yes, but looking at the slate of things that they had coming to the platform, like people needed to understand Netflix not new to this, true to this, been
Mm.
doing it for a while, and they have a ridiculous amount. And not only do they have a ridiculous amount of English content,
Yeah.
they have a lot of content from everywhere.
Yeah.
There's so much content that we can't even access here in the US
Yeah.
that well, you can do some fiddling and make that change, but Netflix is much bigger than I think people give them credit for.
I really think
HBO
that you just like told people to crack their Xboxes and watch non-region coded TV.
I ain't say nothing.
Literally, those were the words I heard. I those exact words.
Hey, I
They
still feel a way
absolutely
about certain areas that Netflix covers getting all the Studio Ghibli films. I still feel a way that that wasn't they straight April Fools me, and it wasn't April Fools because when they made that announcement, I thought it was like for us, and they were like,
yo
nah, nah, you not, no, mm-mm.
yo the regional game that's played with licensing is something that just because of my like a growing interest in like physical media and purchasing like Blu-rays and stuff like that from all over is something
Mhm.
that I'm learning about, and it's ridiculously annoying. In the streaming stuff,
Yes,
they have to play by the same rules. It's so stupid. It's so
I know.
ridiculous.
and I
Like for instance, just this one's just well, out of left field, but I know this is a recent example. There's a series of films from a Chinese director Wong Kar-wai. Criterion released a physical set of his stuff, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
You can buy it. It's available to stream on Mubi, which is kind of a art house film streaming service,
Mhm.
but not in the United States. It's actually a very strange collection of countries that you can stream it in. But it's
Mhm.
all because all these the rights are split between all these different people,
Right.
and
see,
that's
that's
that
whack.
happens with every release. It's
And
crazy.
I get it because what made me get it, I got it before this, but what made me really understand was when Dave Chappelle was talking about telling people not to stream his show because Comedy Central wasn't paying him all the money that they were
Mhm.
getting from all these different places.
Yeah.
Um, and Netflix was like, all right, cool, we won't do it because Netflix has built up a relationship with Dave Chappelle. But I get it. I get like how someone could take your content even though you work with them and everything, and exclude you out of the money and then send it
Mhm.
out everywhere. And they're getting so much money back for it. So I can understand someone, raising a fit and being like, hey, don't show this here if you're not going to give me A, B, and C. And then they're like, all right, well, unfortunately, we can't show this in America because blah, 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 blah. So I get it
Right.
on that end. On the flip side, it's like, dang, like y'all couldn't work nothing out. Like y'all couldn't like I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Like can you like can we put it on layaway? Like you couldn't do nothing, fam? Like
Mhm.
dang it, man.
It's crazy. And I know the Studio Ghibli, like their license is under a whole other group.
Mhm.
Yeah, thankfully I have a HBO subscription because they're a lot of their films are
Oh
there
yeah.
now.
Mhm.
Um and it's like, but come on, fam. Like I already had Netflix. Oh, it was in the bag already. You know what I'm saying? It was in the bag. Oh man. But yeah, like it's interesting to see. And because I was thinking when they made those announcements before we found out that they got so many new subscribers, I heard all these announcements and I'm like, these are going to be canceled as soon as they drop. They're going to be canceled. All these new shows, all these experimental shows and whatnot that I think are really cool. I'm like, they're not going to go very far. And turns out that they're doing really freaking well. Um,
Well, I
and
still
that's
got beef with them though.
a word.
I,
Yeah,
ooh.
because they still have that model. They get you in there with the first 2 seasons of a series or 3 seasons, then that bad boy gets canceled because they got your subscription already. They don't need to keep you there no more. They already got you hooked. You're on the drug. You're gonna keep coming back. And this, I want them to get to a state where they're in the green, not just in the black, where they can continue to invest in series that aren't like the series that's driving subscriptions.
Yeah.
They're ones that like it might have a niche audience, but they don't have to cut the production, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm.
Yeah,
Like
so many
they're
good
not at that
shows.
point. Yeah.
So many good shows that wasn't Stranger Things. Uh,
Yeah, exactly.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's just like,
yeah.
Is that show still on?
they have one
Oh,
more
that's
season.
they never gonna stop that train.
Well, no, they said they got one more season. I think the actors want to do other things. Um, but
It's
yeah,
gonna
that
be called other things.
yes.
I'm
They
sorry.
they have one more yeah, they have one more season coming up. But yeah, so like in the sense of this though, what I was getting at too is that it's overwhelming. It's very
Mm,
hard to there's for instance, I really wanted to watch the movie Power with Jamie Foxx, and
yeah,
because it came out in the time where we were just flooded with content, I still have yet it's still in my queue.
yeah.
Which is also how they get you because there's so much stuff similar to how like
FOMO.
the DVDs would come and they would just sit there and you would forget about it. It's like I want to watch it, but there's other things I want to watch, and then people are talking about other stuff, and then like I don't want to. I don't, FOMO, fear of missing out when WandaVision came on, so I got to watch WandaVision. Like, it's
Mhm.
hard to kind of stay up on it to the point of you're just paying to have access to something that you might actually watch one day. Uh, which is kind of like, wow, like how does that happen? Like how do we get to the point where we might watch something? Like that's
Yeah.
interesting. Um, and speaking of which, that's kind of how we kind of got, we were talking about, talking off air about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and how not all of us have seen it yet. Um, and how it was kind of like just so much content that it was kind of
Mhm.
tricky. Um, what were the like I know you well, I guess I can assume that you were waiting for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier to be done so you could kind of stream it all.
You are 100% correct, sir. So what I
Okay.
did,
Binge it.
like, all right. So Disney Plus, right? I called this. Like, we got it when it launched. Me and my girlfriend were super excited because I got all these old things to watch on here. We got a couple new things to watch, right? But I was like, we're gonna run out of stuff to watch real fast. And she did not think that was gonna be the case. But it was less than a month. And I was like, hey, uh, we ain't turned on no Disney Plus in a little while. I'm gonna cancel that subscription because like I don't need it. Like I don't pay for HBO is it Max? Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
pay for
Max.
Max either for kind of the same reason. It's like I'll go to it when there's something there for me to see.
Right.
But I'm there's nothing on there that I'm just like throwing in rotation because like even with Netflix, even if there's nothing new I want to watch, we throw on Community, um, we throw on Parks and Rec, or used to throw on Office, or just like
Yeah.
all these other shows that just can be background noise. Netflix has already locked that space down. These other ones don't have it. And so with Disney Plus, what I do is with these Marvel shows, because I do want to watch them, I wait till they get further into the season, get like maybe a couple episodes away from the finale. Then I sign up for it. I finish that whole season before the next month come around. And then I cancel my subscription.
I feel you. I do
Simple
that
as that.
with HBO. I've been doing that with HBO. Like when their shows came out that was, mostly black led. I was like, "Yep,
Yeah.
got to do it." Boom. And then I was like, "And I'm out."
Yeah, exactly. You get in, you watch what you want to watch, and then you out of there. And like they want to. I know it's been a big conversation about HBO Max specifically. Like they want to address that concern because they have that problem where they can't retain people. And I'm like, yo, you got a long way to go. Netflix has been doing this for a long time. And then when we
Yeah.
got to Netflix, Netflix was the only option for a while too. So
Mhm.
it's like
Yeah.
it's that level of comfort there. And HBO, I don't think they need to really try to reach that level, honestly, because there's a level of quality that the HBO shows reach pretty consistently that's really good too.
Yeah.
Y'all can
Yeah.
continue to thrive off of that. Disney Plus, same situation. There's families that are gonna have a Disney Plus, subscription consistently because there's a lot of kids stuff on there as well. It's really really good for families that need some kind of content for their kids to watch.
Of course. Have
Um,
you guys seen Tangled? Like Tangled, the animated series?
I have
That's
not.
necessary.
My daughters, they love that. They love that show.
It's great.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like stay in your lane. I don't think it's necessary for them to try to to fight to get into that Netflix space because all they're doing is driving prices up. Like Netflix buying the Knives Out 2 and 3. I don't know if y'all saw that news.
I
Yeah, I
did.
saw that news. Yeah.
Yeah, but those kinds of bidding wars and stuff like that's just more faces in the mix because they're Netflix is already battling with movie productions that are trying to get these things in the theaters. But now HBO Max and Disney Plus. Well, Disney not really. They're not really driving up prices. They're just gonna do their own thing. But
Yeah.
HBO Max and these other apps that are kind of smaller ones like what Stars and Showtime and all those subscriptions that are part of other subscriptions like Amazon Prime. Even Amazon Prime is another one that's driving the prices up with everything.
Yeah.
Um, that I think Amazon Prime's probably Netflix's most important competition, not HBO and Disney Plus.
Yeah. I think what Prime offers, just in their shipping side, um,
Yeah,
and
the package deal is
yeah,
just super
it's
duper.
the fact that you don't have to get a year anymore, uh, has
Mhm.
also been very helpful, and they know it. Like they know it. I think the only thing with Prime is that it's so foreign to older people in a
It is
sense to where that's where I think Netflix is gonna kill because Netflix has been around so long that like my parents know what Netflix is and they what I mean like
Hmm.
to the point where it's like oh we're coming over we can watch this on Netflix because they know it's a streaming thing not cable. For a long time people were like I don't know what this is, and I think Prime is in that spot where they're like, Amazon, don't you just buy stuff there? Like, don't you just get, what I mean? Like, they don't really know. It's mostly the younger people. And
yeah. People definitely forget about Prime. I
yeah,
forget about Prime, and I like Prime.
yeah, I, I, I am coming to this, the awareness of how good Prime can be. I'm not even gonna
Yeah,
front. I
I
just,
still hate it.
I don't like Amazon, but I can't complain about the Prime is such a good thing. I wish Amazon didn't suck like totally.
as a company. Yeah.
Yes, like just how
Yeah.
they treat people, and it's really hard to get away from Amazon. And we talked about that in a previous episode where
Mhm.
Amazon and Microsoft they have kind of monopolies on a lot of things
They
to
have a
where
monopoly on my bank account right now because Amazon just charged me for membership, and I'm like, I know I canceled all of my primes. I have
wait,
like 6 accounts, and I
multiple
canceled
primes?
multiple primes. I have two Amazon accounts that I know of. Actually, I have three. I know I have three, but one of them I haven't logged into for a very long time. But the other two, one's on my computer and one's on my phone. And I had free Prime on both of them because, I told you, like, they were giving me free Prime. And I forgot that I also had my sister's Prime, which is on my smart TV. So basically, I had these three accounts, not including the other account that I don't log into. And so that was the one that I watched the movie on, the one that's on my smart TV. And but I didn't know it was on there, which is why I put the free Prime because they had the little thing on my computer and on my phone. Well, I canceled the both of them. I remember doing it. In fact, I should have taken a screenshot. So I went back into my phone to make sure that I had canceled it and I had, but I saw a charge today that I just got charged like $119 from Amazon Prime. So they're gonna hear it from me.
Usually, the good thing is they're typically pretty good about giving you your refund, so you should be straight. I hope.
I'm gonna
I
have
do
to
hope so so because all I know is that I don't want my Ubers to be bouncing.
Wow. See, this is what you get for gaming them like 9 different primes. They caught on. It was like, wait, this is hold up. Messy Tessie, Tessie Messy, Bessie Tessie. This is all the
Right.
same person. Like, wait a
But
minute.
that's their fault. That's their fault for not having better people on their teams to be figuring out that it's all the same IP address. That's their fault. It's one router, same IP. They
Goodness.
should be doing better detective work.
This is sad. This is sad. I think Netflix and a couple others are trying to look into cracking down on sharing and such too.
They are, but
They
that's
need
such
them to chill.
BS. I really
They
think it's
need them to
unfair,
chill.
especially if Netflix is sitting here talking about how they're in the black and they're making so much money. They're making billions off of a goddamn pandemic when half the people don't even have effing jobs and stuff. People don't have any money. I'm like, y'all need to chill out. The fact that somebody's going to share it with their bestie, just chill out. You're making so much money.
Well, see, that's they gotta make more.
They want to make
They want to get
greed.
them blockbusters in. Well, to be fair, they've been losing money for a minute, so I can kind of understand them. Like, yeah, yeah, we're just gonna have to stop that right
That's
there.
their fault
I
because
could,
you know what? There was a point in time when they were like they kind of didn't care because Hulu cracked down on that very early.
yeah.
Hulu was like, okay, no, like they're like you're logged in too many places. Before Hulu even allowed you to have like 12, which it's not, I think it's like seven profiles or whatever.
Mhm.
They're just
Yeah.
like you're logged into too many places because like a lot of people who had Hulu, they had it on their computer, they had it on their phone, they had it on their smart TV, they had it on their Xbox or PS, whatever. And then it'd be like you try to log on to one of them. It's like you're logged into too many places. I'm like, well, I've got 17 peripherals. What do you want me to do?
Stop hating.
Now you guys are judging my electronics. Okay, don't judge my Best Buy addiction. That's not fair. I didn't ask y'all to do that. Same.
Oh my
Hulu.
gosh. With
Y'all
that
have-
being said, we're gonna go ahead and end our show today on Tessa's multiple accounts. uh, we want to thank you, Charles, for hanging out with us today. It's been a dope
Thank
show.
you. Thank you
Um,
so much for having me, man. If y'all ever want me to come back, I'm down. It was a blast.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold you to that, especially once you start watching some of these other shows. We gotta get you in here to talk about them because there's some stuff going on, especially with these black characters. I'm looking forward to Riri coming to MCU, and it's I having a black female lead show on the MCU or just going to be a part of the
Hmm.
MCU. I think it's going to be amazing, and they better get it right. That's all I got to say. Um, but yeah, we had a great time. Everybody who's listening, definitely right now, seeing that we're on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe and the notification bell so you're up on all the new content that we have coming out. Make sure you check out the special episode that we had that should be going up. I'm breaking the fourth wall. It should be going up tonight, and this episode will be going up probably on Saturday. So, yeah, you want to be up on all the good stuff. Also, you want to know when we transition. We're going to be transitioning soon to other DSPs, whether it be Spotify, iTunes, whatever the case, so that way you can listen without actually having to watch something. Because I know a lot of people kind of listen to podcasts as they do other things, and that's been kind of a barrier. So we're going to be fixing that pretty soon. We have some dope stuff coming up, and so you want to be there. You want to make sure you're down. You're not missing it. Um,
Right.
Also, follow us on all the social platforms. We're gonna have that in the comments or the details below. And I think that is it for housekeeping. Don't hold me to that because it's been a long day and I can't remember all this shit. But yeah, um, follow us and hopefully you like the content. Let us know what you thought. If you want us to talk about certain other topics or films or anything that's popular right now, um, let us know. Let us know. Other than that, Tess, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Word. So I'm gonna tell you guys the same thing I tell you guys every night. That we're trying to take over the world. No, sorry, pinking the brain reference. Sorry, guys, my brain not working. All right. So anyway, I tell you guys the same thing, and I just want you to keep doing it, which is, washing your faces, washing your hands, washing your butts. It's just very important that you wash your butt. I just think it's really important. I
It
don't know how
is.
much I stress
It
that.
is.
Yeah, it is. So do that, please,
Agree.
people.
Agree.
Yeah. And don't forget to wear your masks.
Definitely.
Also, um, hashtag don't be a dick. We've talked about that multiple times. So everybody be kind, love your neighbor, but from a 6-foot distance. It's important. Okay. Clearly, staying at home and watching Netflix has been great for the economy. So go ahead and do that, you guys. Keep on social distancing, all of that lovely stuff. And yeah, stay off the roads because I can't get to work on time. We love you. We thank you for listening. You guys have been awesome. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.